Nitpick.
I told you, there's no way anyone could tell them apart. They're like twins. Okay, fine. You look at them.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yoshi versus Yoshi!
Instead of doing a normal review-y video over Yoshi's Woolly World, I wanted to do a comparison. You see, Woolly World borrows a hefty chunk of ideas from Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. So much so that if you played one after the other, the second would just seem like an expansion to the first. It's pretty sad that after 20 years, Nintendo still plays it so safe with the franchise that started off being the black sheep of the Mario franchise. Let me just say before I begin, I like Woolly World. It's a bright, cheery game with beautiful graphics and a laid-back feel that asks players to move at a slower pace, even if you don't want to. Before discussing key differences that set these games apart, let me go over some similarities.
Both these games have Kamek as the semi-villain of the story, whose goal is to power up Baby Bowser. Kamek interrupts the daily activities of the Yoshi clan in some way that sets off the adventure. Yoshi then goes through 6 main worlds with 8 stages in each world, a 9th stage being unlocked if the player collects enough objects in each stage. Levels must be played in order. The player may not skip a certain one they do not like. Each of the 8 worlds has a midpoint mini-boss and a final stage boss. Every time, these bosses are always some sort of normal enemy creature that Kamek uses magic on to make bigger and more threatening. Speaking of enemies, these games have almost the exact same sets of them. Shy Guys, Boos, Bullet Bills, Piranha Plants, Fly Guys, Stilt Guys, Boo Guys, Sniffits, Chain Chomps, etc. Each game has an end-stage roulette wheel you jump through where it's possible for the player to participate in a bonus minigame. The controls haven't changed either. At all. Yoshi is able to transform into a few different objects such as a plane, digging mole, and more.
Starting to see a pattern.
Woolly World uses many of the same assets and game mechanics introduced 20 years ago with the hope that a cutesy yarn aesthetic will cover the blemishes. In Woolly World, Kamek pays a visit to the Yoshi's Island hangout zone, using his magic to rip apart the bodies of many of the Yoshi residents, stuffing them into a body bag.
Damn, dude!
In the end, we find out that Kamek stole the Yoshis to make Baby Bowser more powerful by increasing his daily yarn intake. And while Yoshi's Island has a similar here's a kick in the ass to start your adventure sort of feel, it does a better job at it. There's more thought and a human element injected into the story with the introduction of Baby Mario, a younger version of a character that the world was already familiar with their goal being to rescue Baby Luigi from Kamek.
You know, Yoshi's Island seemed to care more for its story.
It shows the entire setup when the game boots up. The classic cartoon stork is carrying 2 babies, gets attacked, Baby Luigi gets stolen, and Baby Mario rallies a group of Yoshis together to save his brother! Woolly World just says, alright, get Kamek in there to fuck shit up. The Yoshi's dead? Cool. Get to the first world, let's get this shit done. I got places to go, people to see. Seriously, look at the Yoshis just standing there while their friends get transformed. There's even one sitting in the corner like, I don't give a fuck! Apparently, Kamek terrorizing these poor dinosaurs has become so common, they just shrug it off while continuing to pour their morning coffee. The sound! The sound! Yoshi's Island has fantastic music, but due to cartridge space limitations of the Super Nintendo, didn't have many tracks. With the advent of a tremendous increase in game size capacity over the last 20 years, Woolly World has way more tunes in it than the aforementioned. While the original has well-crafted 16-bit tracks that were created so as to not get annoying when heard 1,000 times, Woolly World takes a more mellow approach which gels perfectly with its art style. But... sound effects. Everything is exceptional except one thing. Yoshi. In the original, the sound team just gave Yoshi simple, short sound effects for all his actions. For the most part, he was sort of a silent protagonist throughout the game, which gave more weight to when the player was damaged and Mario began crying. This has changed in Woolly World. Without Baby Mario around, Yoshi won't shut up. You would think they'd have given the dinos some new sound effects. I kid you not, he's been making the same sounds when he jumps, licks, and butt stomps since the original Smash Brothers on the 64. This would be okay if they'd given him some vocal variety, but no.
He makes the exact same sound every time he jumps, butt stomps, and licks. Every time. Not to mention, they all but gave up on having any sort of options menu. So if you want to crank up the incredible music and turn down Yoshi's fucking annoying voice, you can't do that.
Make it stop. Make it stop!
Woolly World not only borrows heavily from Yoshi's Island, but other games as well. This would be okay, but these borrowed concepts aren't expanded upon or improved in any way. Take Super Mario 3D World for instance, which allows Mario and the gang to walk around an actual overworld in between levels. Look familiar? Woolly World has the same concept, but dumbs it down. There aren't extra levels like the Captain Toad missions, hidden areas, or pipes to explore. You literally just go from one level to the next. It's a straight shot, just like Yoshi's Island. So why even include this? Just to be cute or something? The original Yoshi's Island had players handing Little Mario off to the next Yoshi and continuing on. And I'm surprised Woolly World didn't just have that. While I enjoy being able to walk around the overworld after a stage, it served a purpose in 3D World. Here, it's wasted potential. Might as well do the Yoshi Bop. I remember playing Yoshi's Island when I was younger and marveling at the fact that you could actually aim with precision and shoot right where you meant to. But that was over 20 years ago, and the gaming landscape changed. First-person shooters began using 2 joysticks to handle moving, and twin-stick shooters began to arise. And here's Woolly World, still using controls established on the Super Nintendo. Why haven't we moved past this? Almost every controller option except the Wii Remote has a second joystick. Why the hell are we still using this ancient aiming system? Think of how much faster it would be if you just flicked the second joystick to aim your eggs. Simple and easy. It made sense to aim like this 20 years ago. Look at this controller. Today, not so much. The real kick in the nuts is that there's a tilt option. You know, so you can control the cursor by tilting a Wii Remote.
Just like the fans always wanted!
While neither of these games are very difficult, I want to point out a key difference in the way they both handle the life meter. A design choice that stuck around for Woolly World is the necessity of having full life to 100% a level. Focusing on the player avoiding damage ends up highlighting some of Woolly World's flaws and making them worse. You have to move even slower through almost every level to assure you don't get hit. And even if you do move slow, having full life is never guaranteed due to enemies taking cheap shots or obstacles appearing at inopportune times. Why stars are even used in this game is beyond me. In Yoshi's story, stars acted as a counter to give Yoshi more time to rescue baby Mario, and they would always regenerate back to 10 if you ever dropped below it. But baby ain't here. This should have been changed to something else as soon as he was ejected from the plot. Forcing the player to worry about their life meter so they can 100% the game takes away from the mellow atmosphere this game strives so hard for. Adding insult to injury. If you die enough times in a level, Woolly World will ask if you want to try mellow mode. You're right, Nintendo. I do need this handicap. While being almost a carbon copy of Yoshi's Island, along with stealing features from other games, Woolly World does add a few new ideas into the mix. First, we have badges. These are power-ups the player can give Yoshi before entering a stage that costs gems and bestow items, upgrades, and even the ability to see hidden clouds. As if the game wasn't easy enough already, badges make it cake. A better idea, in my opinion, would be to have Yoshi visit a small shop in the hub world where he could purchase permanent upgrades with collected gems. As it stands, purchased badges are only good for one stage. Then they have to be reacquired if the player enters a different level. Then we have Boss Challenge, where Yoshi faces off against, literally just sped up versions of bosses he fought previously. Again, this is an idea that needed improvement. Nintendo could have given these bosses new attack patterns, changed the fighting location, or maybe even introduced new enemies here that didn't make the cut in the main game. But no. Boss Challenge also unfortunately highlights how this game reuses its own bosses multiple times to further save on development costs. The game also houses a cooperative mode.
It's actually not bad.
Now, I can't completely rag on Woolly World. Well, I can. But it did fix some of the issues that plagued Yoshi's Island.
One of these is the awful enemy respawn system implemented in Yoshi's Island. If you leave the screen for a split second or don't kill an enemy a certain way, they'll just come back. This can make scouring each stage for hidden secrets really annoying, as previous areas will be repopulated with creatures you thought were taken care of. Another aggravating inclusion are certain items and objects disappearing once they get outside range of the screen. Here's an example for you. Here I am, pushing this box off the ledge so I can ground pound it on the floor below. But once I push it off, the game no longer believes it exists since it left the screen.
Pretty nasty oversight there.
This happens a lot with the chomp boulders Yoshi pushes around too, which can be a particularly huge pain in the ass in some circumstances.
Also, on a more minor note, Woolly World controls better than Yoshi's Island.
There are multiple avenues of control, and most of them feel and work better than the original game. High five.
The biggest problem with Woolly World is that it's stuck in the past. It's more interested in emulating what came before than introducing new and inventive ideas for the player.
Yoshi's Island was crafted 20 years ago. Yeah, it was a great game. Part of what made it great was not only the gameplay, but how crazy the game was in general. So why not make every Yoshi game drastically different? Woolly World looks fantastic. Seriously, look at this game. It even introduces a few new ideas to the series. But a slew of new enemies and some more gameplay changes would have gone a long way.
That's why if anyone ever asks me if Woolly World's worth their time, I'll say,
You talking about that Yoshi's Island game over there?
Because I can't tell the difference. Nitpick out. Hello there, nitpickers. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, let me know in the comments which game you like more. Be sure to check out my previous video on Luigi's Mansion and the one before that on Super Mario Maker. You can also visit my secondary channel for more nitpick goodness and chat with me on Twitter and Facebook. See you soon.